MRN Crew Call on MRN.com is presented by MoneyLion, the world's most powerful financial membership. MoneyLion, here we roar. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Yes, welcome to another episode of MRN Crew Call brought to you by MoneyLion. I am your host, Rocko Williams, and I am joined today by Landon Walker. Thank you, Landon, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Dion. It's great to be here, though.
Landon Walker, he is the fueler for the number 24 Chevy SS, driven by William Byron, and doing a very good job of getting her full, I would guess, right?
Yeah, that's the goal, right? You gotta get her full, man. I mean, that's the golden rule in fueling. Get her full.
You are actually our first fueler this year on our show, so congratulations!
Thank you. That's big time.
Breaking the mold, man. You know.
Yeah, well,
you guys are important too.
That's good news. Well, it's good to be, it's good to be respected. I tell you, anyway. You get lost in the shuffle out there. I tell you.
Well, it's hard for you at 6'1".
Yeah, well,
no, to get lost in the shuffle.
6'6", but
yeah, 6'6".
Who's counting?
You're rarely going to get lost in the shuffle. But
that's
man,
true.
We're coming back from Bristol. The brothers finished 1-2. They dominated, of course. And how are you feeling after Bristol? How did the race go for you?
I have to say that Bristol was a kind of a whirlwind for us because we went in and we qualified second, and we thought that we're going to have the day we wanted to have. But obviously, when you go to a track like Bristol, you run into situations where, you're going to have accidents potentially. You're going to have things that aren't going to go your way. It's a very short track, and you have to almost be, I don't want to say perfect, because Kyle Busch was not perfect.
No, he was not.
But you have to be in position to make the most out of the things that happen wrong. And things happen. And when they multiply and those things just keep happening, obviously you're going to have a tough day. And we had a tough day, but hey, we fought. We stayed in it, and we stayed on the lead lap, which was really good for Bristol if you can stay up there and stay on the lead lap. So didn't end up the way we wanted to, but we fought, and got a lot of guys on the team that won't give up, which is a great thing. So
well, I'm not surprised. You guys are a strong team. And one of the first things that I noticed when I looked at the first thing I do when I watch a race, I see where you are on pit road. I see who you're going to be pitting against. And being that you qualified outside pole, you did get that premier pit stall right at turn 3.
Absolutely.
You had that opening. I mean, the corner pit boxes at Bristol are the premier spots to pit a car. It's the safest spot to pit a car at Bristol. It's so tight there. So I saw that, and I was hoping that y'all would, do very well, because Hendrick has made some headway, you know?
Yep, we're coming.
Y'all are coming.
The corners are good, man. Being a fueler, you don't I don't want to say you can pit anywhere, because there are positions that are coming around cars and being in some weird spots you don't want to be. But for the guys that run out in front of the car, you're the jackman, the front jackman, the front changer, those guys, man, it is very, very pivotal to be in a good spot at Bristol, because you're coming in on 43 or wherever, and you're having to dive around cars. That's a very dangerous position to be in. It
is, but you're used to it. That's why you get paid the big bucks, right?
That's right.
And that's why.
That's right.
Speaking of the big bucks, I don't make them anyways. I'm a man who has many jobs, and I recruit. I'm looking for these athletes. I'm preaching the gospel of NASCAR to these universities.
Yes, sir.
I was at Miami the week prior, but I had the pleasure of being in Arizona, and I was at the Arizona State University. And, Slaw Cam was active. This is your first time here, but, I'm going to share my experience from Arizona State. We had the pleasure of evaluating a lot of top athletes there and teaching them a little bit about the opportunities that are available in NASCAR as an athlete and as a graduate in many different degrees and areas of study. So let's take a look at our Slaw Cam, and you can see how Arizona State felt NASCAR.
Rocko Williams, I'm out here in Arizona, and I'm at Arizona State Universities. I'm out here feeling the vibe. NASCAR is on campus, and I'm making sure they all know.
And that is Tempe. They call it the Fork, or they say fork 'em. You know,
Really?
Arizona State, they have the big pitchfork, and they say fork 'em, fork 'em.
That's what they say, really.
The pitchfork, you know, and I'm like, well, if you're a country guy like me, you know, that fork 'em would probably sound like something else.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that saying, but, you know, Tempe's a nice city, too, man. What a great little city for a college town, right?
A little different from,
Clemson?
where did you go? Clemson University?
Yeah, just a little, man. It's a totally, you know, we've been there when we race in Phoenix, and Tempe is like overwhelming.
It is nice.
There's a ton of kids there too, like 60,000, right?
Yeah.
That's a ton, man.
It is very nice. And as you started your career in NASCAR, how did that come about from Clemson? Or did you imagine yourself at Clemson University? Was NASCAR even on your radar? 'Cause look at you now.
No, absolutely not. You know, what was on my radar? NFL was on my radar.
Of course.
And you know, as college athletes, I think we are so, and I don't want to use the word, you know, snowed, but you think about, you have one goal, you have one thing in mind, you want to play in the NFL. That's the goal, and that's
why you're at school, right?
That's your exactly. That's your childhood dream to do that, to be a student athlete, to get a good education, to play football and be good at what you're doing, and to have that opportunity to play in the NFL is very, very. It's a big opportunity at a big school like Clemson. So you know, you go to a place like that, and you're thinking, okay, NFL. All right, well, I actually wound up going to the NFL. I signed as a free agent to the Cincinnati Bengals. Went there, and
you felt like you made it. Did you feel like you made it personally when you signed that contract to Cincinnati Bengals? Was it like, okay, I have a lot of work to do, or okay, I've made it, or okay, I hope everything goes right? What were you thinking?
I hope everything goes right was probably the first thing I thought. And then but you know, when I signed that contract, what I didn't realize is my knee. I had a knee surgery at Clemson, which prohibited me, obviously. So it got to, they did a physical on me in Cincinnati where they failed my physical, and which is a hit. You know, I was just like, my knee's fine, man. I never missed a game. Started every game I ever played in Clemson, and you know, I'm on my way home thinking about, you know, what's next, what's Plan B. You know, thinking about what I need to do, and I didn't expect for it to hit me that soon. And so here I am. You know, I didn't have a guy like you coming to Clemson saying, hey, check this NASCAR deal out. So here I am driving home, since 7-hour drive for Cincinnati, going through the mountains of West Virginia, thinking about what I want to do. And somehow I got a hold of Chris Berkey at Hendrick, and I talked to a few different guys. You know, Adam Mosier, I believe. And a few different of those guys had talked to me a little bit about racing, and I was very interested in it. You know, very interested, was thinking about the knee and thinking about health and all that. Those sort of things were in my mind. And so, you know, Chris Berkey said, hey, why don't you come to a tryout at Hendrick Motorsports for this deal? And I said, what tryout? What are you talking about? Just what am I supposed to do at a tryout for NASCAR? Idea. What is this? Come look at it, you know, go through the process, see the combine stuff, the running, all the different drills, and here I am, you know. But, you know, it was a wild run just to see that and say, hey, I'm going to take a shot here. I'm going to take a shot. And that first year is tough, as you know. But getting through that was an obstacle, but it was fun. And to be able to continue my athletic career in NASCAR is, man, what an unbelievable opportunity to be able to do that.
And look at you now, the fueler for the number 24 at Hendrick Motorsports. Look, Landon Walker is in the house, Clemson alum, you know, NASCAR All-Star. So excited to have him in the studio. We have so much to talk to you about. Sit tight. We'll be back right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Next time those engines roar, don't just get pumped up. Get 5% cash back with MoneyLion. Our members get 5% cash back on up to $2,000 in annual purchases of tickets to a NASCAR race from authorized ticket sellers. You'll also get 5% off any at-track purchases and all purchases on NASCAR.com. Just use your MoneyLion debit card and it couldn't be easier. Join the world's most powerful financial membership, MoneyLion. Here we roar.
Fuelman designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Fuelman product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications on the road, in the air, and around the world. Fuelman is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Hello, come on in. We're back on MRN Crew Call presented by MoneyLion. I'm joined by Landon Walker. And Landon, I'm going to get your help. You've hit on some good points in our earlier segment. You were talking about how when you made it to the NFL and how you failed your physical and how you didn't think about a plan B at the time.
Yeah.
You didn't. And as I'm traveling to these schools and talking to these athletes at these universities, I'm seeing some similarities in that type of dialogue I'm having with these students, that they're so gung-ho and so set on that ultimate dream of being a professional athlete. Absolutely. As a football player, as a baseball player, as a basketball player, not really knowing the possibilities and the opportunities as it relates to NASCAR. And as I explained to them, you can use NASCAR as NASCAR pit crew as an athlete to get your foot in the door. Mm-hmm. And once your foot is in that door, you would agree that there are some pretty awesome opportunities that you can exploit to your advantage, if you have the right mindset, right?
Absolutely, man. Sponsorships, all the great people, representing and surrounding this sport. We have such a great community of sponsorships and guys that, so many different things you could stem from NASCAR. The
connections that you make. One of the things that is different as an athlete over the wall on a major team, when you're on one of those top 5 teams as a pit crew athlete, you're behind the wall, surrounded by CEOs, team owners, and influential people throughout the sport who are cheering for you and wanting to see your team do well. But that type of access and that type of exposure you have to those individuals is unique compared to football, where you're in a helmet and, they're staying in a luxury box or further away from you. So they don't have quite the access to you. So I can imagine you've made quite a few relationships with the people that you've met on pit road. Exalta was one of your sponsors, Liberty University. Do those supporters or those influential people from those sponsors come around the track? And what do you do when you meet them?
Absolutely. To first off, to be able to have big sponsors and on a race team is a big advantage right there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of teams that get that advantage. Having Liberty and having Exalta and those guys really, even Hertz too. Having those guys being dialed in with us is huge. UniFirst, there's a couple different ones. But anyway, Exalta's obviously, they have a little bit of more of a tie to Hendrick than some of the other sponsorships because they do have a building on our campus. But we are surrounded by opportunity, man. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, you can't sit there and think about, hey, because there's no better plan B, there's no better way to think about plan B than being in the situation you're in when you have a job, you have an opportunity. Hey, go ahead and get your name out there. Go ahead and shake hands and as going to how to deal with these people, shake their hands, get in front of them, introduce yourself, tell them what you're about, tell them where you came from, because those people love to hear it. And these sponsorships, they really, they really lean on us a lot more than you think they do. They love to see us in our the fire suit interaction, knowing that we were football players, knowing where we came from, and like I said, that's something that you can't buy that kind of employee, man.
And not just rinky dink football players. You played at Clemson University. You were part of national championships and all that's concerned. And when I hear you talk, it looks like you have a hat on. I know you don't have a hat on. You have your headset on.
Yeah.
But if you had a hat, I would say you would have a crew chief hat. And that brings us to our next segment, the Financial Crew Chief segment, brought to us by MoneyLion, where in this segment, the Financial Crew Chief, you are my crew chief.
Okay.
And I need your help. All right. I'm a all-star crew member. I mean, I'm balling out on them. My numbers are looking good. I don't have to worry about the backup salivating for my position. I'm riding high. It's my 6th year. I'm going to pick cars forever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In your mind, you
might. Wrong. So what you have to do now, let's say I'm thinking that I want to start a business as a crew member. I want to pick cars. I'm making great money. I have a lot of free time to focus on other things. I want to start a trucking business, and
Yeah.
how do I go about doing that? And I ask you this because word on the street is you might have some insight into the trucking business. And
Yeah.
could you tell me a little bit about that and how that came about?
I might know a little thing about it.
A little something.
So, that going back to meeting people and not just sponsorships, we're talking boosters, and we're talking people that surround programs like Hendrick Motorsports, like Clemson University, like Wake Forest. So there's so many influential people that surround these schools and programs. But, I was in a great position at Clemson. I got to meet some good people. And I met a guy who was a contractor for FedEx Ground, and I kind of had talked with him, and we had kind of worked together a little bit in college. He'd let me wash some trucks and have a job in the summer a little bit. Anyway, got out of college, got into this deal, and I always had that in the back of my mind. And I always talked to him, say, "Hey,
So
look,
you've always had,
Yeah.
you always had that desire.
I always had it.
Okay.
Once I had learned in college, I said, hey, that was what I was thinking before. After the NFL, I was like, hey, this is something I could do then, right? Well, ding, ding, it went off. I said, if NASCAR doesn't work, this is what I want to do. Yeah. So NASCAR kind of worked out, and
What do you mean NASCAR kind of worked out?
It kind of worked out because it was off to a start, and I didn't really, I didn't know what it was about yet. That's what I mean. So, but once it took full hold, it was on. So then I'm like, okay, I got this going. I'm not going to be in the same position I was in college again. I'm not going to be sitting here saying because you're like we talked, we're one injury away. You're one injury away from being out of a job. And we're one bad performance away from being out of a job. I hate to say it like that, but that's the realism of the business we live in.
It is.
So I took advantage of the guy that I met at Clemson. We kind of talked a little bit about it, and there was some opportunity in that business, and the opportunity at that time was with Amazon. And so I'd started talking with him, and we got a little more serious. He said, hey, if you're going to do this, you need to do it now. If you wait, it's too late. So I said, okay, I'm in a good position. I can do this. Hopefully I can run it with NASCAR. We'll see what happens. So anyway, I went out.
So let me stop you right there. You said you wanted to run it with NASCAR. When you're making that decision, for those who really don't understand what that means, what do you mean can you run it with NASCAR?
Okay, so, NASCAR is a weekend job, right, for the most part, all right? And you got 2 days off during the week, 3 days of practice workouts. You got a lot of time in the afternoons, and you start sitting around, you start thinking about the time that I have, what can I be doing? Because there's a lot of guys that do go out and get jobs. They do different things. Well, the job that I wanted to do was that. So I took advantage of the guy I knew, and I said, look, I can do this at the same time by running, by being basically on my phone most of the time when I'm not at the racetrack or at practice or weights.
Oh, you're good at that.
Well, I'm a phone guy. I'm a talker, as you can tell. So I'm here, man. And I said, if I can manage this and have a little help when I'm not, available, then this can work. So anyway, my wife decided she would help me out. And she came with me, and she didn't quit her job or anything, but she did decide to take on more for the weekends. So we both were doing this together. And so anyway, I went out and bought the tractors.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's good to have that support.
It was,
structure.
man. And she, and she was, at the time, she was doing her full-time job Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, she was doing phone calls and anything that kind of went awry with the business.
You tag team that thing.
Well, there's no good man without a good woman behind him, let me tell you. And so she was there.
What's your wife's name? Give her a shout out.
It's Christy Walker, and she,
Cool points.
she absolutely, she met me in college, and she was a Clemson volleyball girl, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't be here without her because she's the full, you know how it is to have a good support system. You got to have it, and she's the rock, man. So anyway, went out, back to the whole starting the trucking company, bought the tractors just on a whim, thinking this was going to hopefully work, and bought the tractors, ended up doing that.
So you had enough money
Yep.
in your pocket, in your shoebox under your bed to say, I'm going to go buy me some tractors.
Yeah, something like that. And they weren't new, don't get me wrong. I didn't go out and spend the...
So what you're saying is you saved
Yep.
prior to that. You were prepping for the situation, and that's the big key that a lot of young crew members and athletes start. They try to wait, and they wait too long. Start now.
Yep.
The money that you're making now, and we talked about this on a prior show with Joshua Appleby during our crew chief section, is our financial crew chief section, is the fact that he used to, or I suggested, taking a part of your winnings, of your bonus, and putting that aside for times like that. I hate to interrupt you, but absolutely, that is
you're right.
key, to have the ability to pursue something like that.
Absolutely.
You need the means to do it, and you have to put yourself in a position to do that. So
save now, right?
You bought your trucks?
Yep, bought the trucks. Took the put it in a position to go buy the trucks. And then, obviously there's a lot of things that go with that I found out really quickly. Insurance, everything. Insurance is the number one thing.
I was researching my thing. I was of this. And what is the authority? What kind of authority do you need? What does that mean?
So you have to have an authority to run a trucking company. So authority, the easiest way to explain that is basically a U.S. DOT number. Mm-hmm. So the number that you're basically running under that represents your company's name. Okay, that's what you go by on the interstate. Just like when you get pulled over by an officer, or you go to a traffic check, you ask for your license and registration. Well, your license is your name. That's what you're running under. Well, the DOT number represents your company. So you got 15 trucks on the road. That DOT number goes to that company. Okay. They know exactly your reputation as a company. If you've had violations, if you're in good standing with the U.S. DOT, which you better be, or you're not going to be running for long. So it's basically a way to keep guys honest on the road and stay out of trouble the best you can. But anyway, I had to set up the authority, right? Had to do all that, all the things that go with it. And trust me, there's a lot, and there's a lot of more money that has to be spent in order to get going. Mm-hmm. So that was part of it, and the insurance was probably the biggest cost. I tell you, being able to get that going was a huge thing, and being able to have the confidence and take the risk and say, hey, we're going to do this.
And you did.
I
did.
And
it's going.
Yep.
You're not only a successful trucking business owner, you're a successful fueler, right?
Yeah. Well, I like to think so.
You're doing both of those. So you have your plan B in action, Landon, and that type of story right there. I hope our young athletes and young crew members listen to that. Don't wait too long. Strike while the iron is hot, and take advantage of these opportunities now. Don't procrastinate. Landon Walker, ladies and gentlemen, is in studio dropping dimes on us, trucking dimes. He's schooling us on game, and we'll be right back to get schooled a little bit more here on MRN Crew Call.
Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina is redefining the drive-thru coffee game in Race City, USA. The Clutch experience is fast, friendly, and delicious. Quality drinks and unmatched customer service is the name of the game. Clutch Coffee Bar offers signature lattes and mochas, custom flavor-infused energy drinks, smoothies, and more. Over 25 flavors, there's something for everyone. Visit our 2 locations in Mooresville, 356 Williamson Road and 154 West Plaza Drive. Open daily from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Power up today with Clutch Coffee Bar.
At the Goddard School, teachers customize lessons so children can explore their interests, have fun, and learn the skills they need for success in school and beyond. From infant sign language to pre-K students tackling STEAM learning, our Flex Learning Program or Fun Learning Experience is grounded in research that shows the most genuine learning occurs when children are having fun. Our teachers leverage this through lessons inspired by children's imaginations. To enroll, visit GoddardSchool.com. The Goddard School, learning for fun, learning for life.
Looking towards the weekend? Aren't Thursdays a drag? Ours too. Get your weekly dose of nitro-fueled NHRA talk every Thursday on The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This is Ralph Shaheen. Join Doug Herbert and myself as we talk with the biggest names, both past and present, to ever stomp down on the loud pedal. Top fuel, funny car, pro stock, motorcycles, you name it, we talk about it. Don't miss The Straight Line, Thursdays on MRN.com, iTunes, or wherever your favorite podcasts are heard.
Getting Schooled, presented by the Goddard School, the best childhood preparation for social and academic success. Visit GoddardSchool.com for more information. The Goddard School, learning for fun, learning for life. The Goddard School. All my kids went to the Goddard School. Did I tell you that earlier today?
Yeah, man, that's really cool that you were able to lean on those guys to get your kids right?
Well, they had that advantage when they got into kindergarten. They didn't even know why. I knew why when I looked at a certain bank statement every month, but it was well worth it, though.
Yeah, I bet. I bet the other kids were looking around when they were just calling out their ABCs without even being challenged, man.
Anyways, Getting Schooled, Landon. I'm so happy you're on the show. I want to have some fun with you today, being that you are a Clemson University alum. We want to test that theory, and the best way to do that is to validate that from your peers. And so, as you know, there is you're not the only Tiger crew member out there.
That's
you
true.
know, on the
This
road.
is true.
So I reached out to another Clemson Tiger, and he has a few questions for you to validate whether or not you are a Tiger.
Okay.
Here we go. It's Clemson trivia time, and here's a couple questions that every Clemson Tiger should know. For the first question, in 2008, Coach Dabo Swinney became the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, but before he was the head coach, he coached this offensive position group on the Tigers offense. What position did he coach?
All right, let me get your answer there. You have 10 seconds.
Okay, that's going to be the wide receiver position, which is,
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
The wide receiver corps. Everyone should know that. Everyone should know that.
All right. All right, let me get question number 2.
For the second question, this Clemson head coach is responsible for the legacy of the Rock. He also said that if you're not going to give me this percentage of effort, then to keep your filthy hands off of my rock. Who is that coach? And what is the percentage that he acts as in effort?
What you got for me?
All right, it's Frank Howard is the coach, and it's 110%.
That's your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Let's get the answer.
Howard Rock. And he asked for 110% of effort.
Ding,
There we go.
okay.
There we go.
You're doing well right now. Question number 3. Let's see if you can keep it going.
Next question. What year did the Clemson Tigers win their first national championship? And how many do they have after that? So how many is in total? And what year was the first one won?
What do you got for me?
All right, 1981.
Ooh.
And 3 would be the total. My father was actually on that national championship team in 1981, so I can't forget that.
Really?
Yeah, he was on that team, and so they got 3 total, 1981, 2016, and the latest one, it would be 2018, so 2019, whatever you want to call it.
You sure about that?
100%.
Let's see.
1981 was the first one. And they since have 2 more, which was in 2016 and 2018.
And question number 4.
Who is everyone's favorite Clemson Tiger? Tig. Well, of course. Let's go get it, man. Go Tiger, Tiger Nation. Tig is out.
Jonathan Willard, I'm pretty sure you know who that gentleman is. He is the jackman for the number 34, driven by Michael McDowell, Clemson linebacker, and actually had a stint in the NFL as well. So I guess you passed.
I hope so. Tig, I think he took it a little easy, but I'd hate to see what a bad, a hard question would be because I don't want to be stumped on the show. I got to look good.
Maybe at some point, Daryl, our producer Daryl, can defer to Donald, and he might have a question for you at some point in this show. I'm not making any promises.
Hope
but
I get through.
I'm just saying. But anyways, congratulations on passing that Clemson Tiger test. I was worried for you a little bit.
I was myself, yeah.
Is Clemson still? Did they still play? Anyways, no. Let's not go there.
Okay.
I don't want to get in this battle with you.
Well, we don't have to. We don't have to. It wouldn't be good for you, I don't think, if that's where you're going to go with it.
I want to talk pit stops. I want to you as a fuel man. As a fueler for this car. And just with all the changes that we have had with the choreography of the pit stops, going from 6 to 5, what has changed for you guys as a fueler, which in the past 3 years alone? Let's just do the past 3 years.
Well, first off, don't ask a tire changer how good we are or how much we mean to the team. I'm just kidding. No, those guys respect us. I'm kidding. But if you go back to what year are we in? 2019, right? So 2016, man, you go from 6-man pit stops to 5-man. 6-man pit stops were right. They're faster. The 5-man's getting faster, but we're talking high 10s, high 10-second pit stops, low 11s, and that was what you had to do in order to gain spots or maintain on pit road was low 11s. I mean, you go to some of these tracks. But anyway, getting the car full of gas at low 11s, high 10s is very difficult, especially if you go high gallon ranges and you run long runs around these tracks, especially when you go to some of those Michigan Poconos, Talladega Daytonas. But anyway, that was a challenge. You had to be on your game. You couldn't miss, and there was no ands or buts about it. You had to get the job done. And if you didn't, it was going to heavily lean to possibly being a fuel mileage race, which was going to be on you. You knew that you had to do what you had to do that last stop.
Yeah, it's funny you said that it's going to be on you at these fuel mileage races. And for our race fans who maybe not know the intricacies of what's involved with fueling a race car, let me just explain. And this was always I was always curious about this as well. When they were fueling a race car, you get it full to the top. You know, you're good on gas, but the car is heavier.
Yep.
Right. So I didn't realize the impact that a heavy fuel cell had on the weight of the car and the speed of the car. So the car is heavy. But then again, if you don't need a full tank and you don't fill it up, your car is lighter. But then you have that propensity to run out or not make it out the end of the to the end of the race. That is such a fine line to dance on. Do you have any input in that process as far as what is that communication like between you and engineer?
Well, I tell you,
chief?
that we just got out of a track that's very, the weight of the car is very dependent on the way the car runs, the nose weight of that car. So if you want to talk about getting the car full at Bristol, right, car goes like 155 laps at Bristol, which is a long ways on fuel there, okay? But, if you get in a position where you can fill it up and you have to fill it up, right, you need the car to run the lines the way the driver and the crew chief want the car to run, engineer to everybody. They have this goal of, hey, we need this much downforce, we need this much whatever it is, and the adjustments are all counterbalancing that fuel weight. So if you're not putting the right amount of fuel in the car when you're supposed to, that's going to change the way the car runs on the track, and they got to counteract that with adjustments. So to be brutally honest, if you're not doing your job, then they're going to find somebody else to do it. So you got to get the car full when you're supposed to, which and there's positions in Bristol where, hey, you got one can and it's not. You may not think it's important, but you still have to be full of gas. I mean, that's very important.
And he's talking about 190-pound can is what he means, and he manages 2 of those. For anybody who feels like anybody can fuel a race car, it's a lackluster position, one that's not respected. Look at my 6'6" Landon Walker here. Does it look like he's not important? Anyways, I would beg to differ if you thought so. We'll be back with MRN Crew Call right after a quick break.
Did you know that banks collected over $15 billion in unnecessary bank fees last year? Come on, enough is enough. It's time we took back control of our finances. That's why MoneyLion is proud to bring you the Financial Crew Chief and to be a NASCAR sponsor. Look, no one knows more about hard work and pursuing their dreams than NASCAR fans, drivers, and teams. So we want to bring you the kind of banking that the big banks would never build, with features like zero-fee checking and zero-fee investment accounts. And because life is also meant for a join, with MoneyLion, NASCAR fans get even more. We're giving away 1,500 NASCAR tickets to our members this year. Plus, you can get 5% cash back on NASCAR tickets, at-track purchases, and all purchases at NASCAR.com. Learn more at MoneyLion.com or download our app. This is America's most powerful financial membership. MoneyLion. Here we roar.
Fuelman designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Fuelman product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Fuelman is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
It's my favorite time, the Clutch Coffee Clutch Performance Award sections. And hey, if you've been watching the show, you know that we've come out with our positional rankings. And we have a format for that. We have a template for that. And as you can see, we account experience, series standings, and a tiebreaker or the team coaches to come up with this list of the top 10 by position. Last week, we showcased the tire carrier and those top 10 performers. And this week, we are going to showcase the rear tire changers, the top 10 best rear tire changers in the sport. Right now, as we stand in 2019, starts off with Zach Price from the number 22. I've probably seen him say 2 words, very soft-spoken. Do you know Zach at all? Have you seen him?
I don't really know Zach, but I have seen him.
Yep.
He is a good tire changer.
Then you have Jeff Cordero for the number 18. We can't say enough about the number 18. To be able to perform week after week with the possibility of winning and having the spotlight on him week after week, can't say enough about him and Jeff Cordero. Chad Averett is number 9. We know you know your teammate Chad Averett. Anything about Chad that we need to know?
Chad, man, he's an exceptional tire changer. Does a good job, shows up every week, does a great job.
We got Lee Cunningham from the 19 Beard game, still strong in lead. The Beard runs strong with him. Michael Hicks from the number 20, formerly for the number 11. He just goes from one good team to another good team. You have Calvin Teague from number 48. I know you know him.
Absolutely. Does a good job.
Chris McMullen, number 10. Your boy and your teammate, Johnny Roberts, made the list, rear tire changer.
Johnny does an exceptional job, man. I tell you, he's fought through a lot of adversity in getting into the sport. As you guys know, you had him on the show, I believe, before, and being able to establish himself every week. I think he's one of the best tire changers on pit road, and it's good to see him on that list.
And last but not least, we have Jake Lynn from the number 3. These are your best rear tire changers in the sport. Whenever you're watching a race and you want some excitement, you don't know what to watch, you look for one of those guys and you will see some awesomeness going on pit road. We thank you all for joining us, and Landon in particular, we thank you for, just giving us that insight to the fuel process and your greatness, your awesomeness, your Clemson Tiger knowledge. And
hey, man, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man. What a pleasure it is to be here and see you do your thing. So I appreciate it.
I'm excited to see y'all in Richmond.
Can't wait.
Best of luck, and thank you so much for joining us here on MRN Crew Call, and we look forward to having you later on in the year as well.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to it.
Absolutely.